Does the world have enough engineers?
No.
No.
Does the world have enough leaders?
No.
Does the world have enough engineers who are also leaders?
No.
The correct answer is hell no! I'm an engineer. I have way many degrees. Published 57 papers. I've worked in teams that include the Russians, the Europeans, Canadians, Japanese, and folks here in the United States. We're going to talk today about how to be better leaders, and I can't think of anything the world needs more than engineers who are also leaders. So I am thrilled to be here with you this morning. One of the first lessons I got in being a leader was when I was a vampire. Now, I'm older than I think everyone in the room. I was a vampire before vampires were cool. You see, the only reason I have a brother is that he got a complete blood transfusion when he was born. So in my family, donating blood is a real big deal. Now, when I was in college, I joined a service organization. The main reason, of course, was to meet girls. As an engineer at MIT, you know, I don't know about nowadays, but in my school, at those days, the female percentage was less than 20. Okay, so meeting girls was a little extra difficult than solving equations. So I joined this organization. We put on blood drives in conjunction with the Red Cross. You could not walk on our campus during a blood drive without knowing that the blood drive was going on. When I chaired a blood drive, we collected 1,495 pints from a student population of 8,000. The Red Cross told us that we, year after year, had the highest percentage of people donating blood of any school east of the Mississippi River. We were what I'll come to show you was a stage 5 tribe. See, the first part of my presentation will be to talk about tribal leadership. It's based on some of the work by David Logan. There's a handout on the central table here. It talks about the two parts of my presentation. And you want to understand the tribes that you are in, the tribes that you will join, the tribes that you will form at work, at school, church, civic organization. What stage of development is your tribe? Because the more developed the tribe is, the more you can accomplish, the more you can learn, the more the tribe can accomplish. Now, I need 3 volunteers. And I promise it won't hurt. I'm not going to extract any blood today. 3 volunteers. Okay, here's 1. There's 2. There's 3. Come on up here. Right here, please. Now, the technical term for stage 1 is life sucks. That's Professor Logan's term. In stage 1, everyone that's in the tribe figures life sucks. Because your boss, your leader, although at stage 1 there really isn't a leader, there's only a boss, has created a climate that you find virtually intolerable. So what happens in stage 1 is you're miserable all the time. You're not rewarded for what you accomplish. The beatings will continue until the morale improves. Has anyone heard that phrase before? Now, what do you do if you're in stage 1? If you find yourself in a tribe that's stage 1, what should you do about it? Try to improve it.
Talk to your boss.
Talk to your boss. What's another option? Find another one. You run to the hills. You go someplace where you are appreciated. There's no shortage, unfortunately, of bosses who do not know how to lead. Now, let's come over here, stage 2. Now, stage 2, the technical term is, my life sucks. Single word difference, M-Y, my. See, the one thing that's about stage 2 that's not at stage 1 is that you observe that there's at least somebody who's got a tolerable existence. Let's say it's you. I treat this young man all right. I almost treat him like he's human. These two, The beatings still continue until morale improves. He's my pet. Okay? Do you all know about teachers' pets? Even in the young generation now, you have teachers' pets, right? He's my pet. Now, what do these guys think about me or about him?
Jealous.
They're jealous. Yeah, right. Okay? Now, if you find yourself in stage 2, what do you do about it?
Oh, I'm good.
You're good, okay. Yeah, he picked up on that pretty fast, didn't he? Okay. Well, you might find out why he gets treated better. Now, maybe he's my nephew. Or maybe he's married to my niece. You don't know. It would be worthwhile finding out. You want to improve the situation. You want to at least improve your situation. You might look into going elsewhere. All right, now let's come into the middle. Stage 3. You guys are good. Now, stage 3, I'm okay. I'm the boss. These are my minions. New ideas are great as long as they're mine. New ideas are great as long as they make me look good. Their job is not to learn. Their job is to make me, the boss, look good. They're kind of happy. Now, if they're feeling a little frisky, they might be raising things above my head. See, one thing that's different about that's about stage 3 versus stage 1 and 2 is that I at least have enough confidence to stand in front of them and not worry about pieces of metal being jabbed into my back. But am I growing these people? Am I preparing them for the next challenges in their career? Am I getting the most out of my team? No. Stage 3 is a typical work environment. I've been out in the workplace. Believe me, stage 3 is way too typical. Spot the signs. Again, don't forget the handout. We're going to come a little further over to stage 4. Now, stage 4 is we're okay. Now I recognize that these people really are valuable. My job is not to be scared of new leaders. I want to grow more leaders. I know as a leader, I've now transitioned from being a boss to a leader. Now I care about the whole team, and I know that the more we work together and the more good ideas these folks are generating, the more we will accomplish. You hear the word we a lot more than the word me. So when you're out job interviewing, watch for signs. Is it always about the boss man or boss women? I've had both female and male bosses over my career. Or is it about the team? If you hear, oh, our group, our team, we like to work together, we like to do things together, you might be talking about a stage 4 tribe. If it's all about, oh, so-and-so, and he's the greatest, I'm lucky to work with him, blah, 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 you're probably over here somewhere. Now, I was in an engineering team for 10 years that involved all those different countries. Now, the head of the program for most of that time period was the most arrogant SOB I have ever met. It's also the most brilliant. Guy was genius. I started out at stage 1. Then I realized that not everyone was miserable. That put me in stage 2. Then I started to analyze the people who weren't miserable. Why? Well, it turned out the boss was French, and other people who were French were treated differently than everybody else. Well, I'm not French. I happen to be of Italian descent, not French. Bad news for me. But I then studied even more. After all, I'm an engineer. I can study, and I can learn even if it's not equations. And I realized, wait a minute, these guys are interacting with the boss man differently than the rest of us. And so I got partway into stage 3, and I realized I could work with this guy if I adapted my style to his. I had to be the one to change. Now, in stage 4, by the way, the leader changes to work with his team. Stage 3, it's the other way around. It's one of the ways you can see the difference. Now, just about the time I figured out how to work with this guy, he got canned because he had ticked off too many people literally around the world. That's one of the dangers of being in stage 3. Because if you're in stage 3 and everything depends on one guy who can get fired, who can take another job, who can get run over by a bus tomorrow morning, you are at risk. Your team is at risk. Your job is at risk. The written recommendation that you're hoping for is at risk. So if you can, you find yourself in a stage 4 team. Now, one of the things about a stage 4 team is that I'm not trying to control these guys. I want them to go develop their own networks. So I want each of you to go out in the audience and drag up somebody you do not know up here. Because the stronger we make our network as a team, the better off we are. The more we can spread our energy, our ideas, and the more we can listen and absorb information from other people. We just double the size of the team. Now, not the number of pounds, because I'm heavier than any of these people. Now, what? You're in stage 1. I want you, everyone over here on stage 4. Over here. Stage 1, bad. Don't do stage 1. This team will continue to grow and thrive. That makes me less and less important, which means I can go on to the next challenge because I'm growing leaders. I'm giving them more and more things to do and more responsibility, and I want them to grow their skills so that I become irrelevant. If I'm a leader, I know there's always more challenges to go after. I'm not threatened by more leaders. I want more leaders. Now, stage 5, which we don't even have room for up here, Logan calls it, life is good. See, in stage 4, I'm still competing with some other groups way out there somewhere. But in stage 5, life is good. We don't even care about the competition. We are so far ahead of the pack, we're just giving our ideas away. We're just sharing with everybody. We want them to come with us. That blood drive team that I was talking about, we were in stage 5. We didn't feel any competition. We just had fun. We developed ideas, and we would just do them. When we got together as a team, it wasn't about competition. It was about having fun. We made a paper mache blood drop. Would walk around campus taking turns. And one of the things that I remember doing with great joy is walking in and disrupting many an engineering class. Just imagine someone coming in the back of the room wearing a big red blood drop costume. Just wandering around and then wandering back out. That's the sort of nuttiness that we did. It didn't matter if it made sense. It didn't matter if it broke a rule. We just did it. We had fun, we were learning, and we did well. And as we rotated chairs from one blood drive to another, it didn't matter. The organization just thrived. The next person would come in with more ideas. The next set of freshmen would come in with more ideas. And it was fun. If you ever get a chance to grow into a stage 5 organization, you're going to say, life is good. You're going to say, hell yes. You don't want to be in stage 1. Stage 2, no. Stage 3, typical. Stage 4, count your blessings. And stage 5, thank God. So watch as you are in teams, whether it's a study group in school, groups that you're trying to get a job with. What's the dynamic in that organization? And can you move yourself, the group, and your skills in this direction? Thank our volunteers. See, it's even true, no matter how good any engineer is, you get more done as part of a team. That doesn't mean you give up your own individual accomplishments, but the effect of what you're doing grows as you have a stronger team to work with. And engineers are just as responsible for making those teams function well as anybody else. So think about stage 1 through 5. Life sucks. My life sucks. I'm okay. We're okay. Life is good. Now let's move to the second part of the presentation. That's kind of the high level. Let's dive into a little bit more. And how do you make changes to the people that you work with? How do you help them change? Something called situational leadership. Another true story of when I was your age. I met this gal and then learned that she had an identical twin sister. Now, these two girls looked the same, they sounded the same, and as far as I could get experimental evidence, they felt the same. But there was a really important difference. One of them liked me and the other one didn't. See, even if the situation looks, smells, feels, sounds the same, you might be smart to do things differently. It's called situational leadership. Now I need 2 volunteers this time. Somebody who hasn't been on stage yet. Okay, over here. Come on up. Let's have you over here. Let's have you over there. And again, this won't hurt. No blood drive here. The 2 dominant leadership styles that you see out there is direction and delegation. In direction, I'm going to tell you exactly what I want you to do. I'm going to micromanage this young lady. She is not to deviate from what I tell her one bit. Now, have you come across any bosses that act that way? You haven't? All right, you're luckier than I am. Things have improved. So your job is to just do what I tell you. Now I'm just going to delegate to you. I'll give you a task. You come back with the answer. Now, who's luckier? Who do you think? How many people think this young man is luckier? And how many people think she's luckier? Ah, okay. There's one person in the audience that was cautious. She gave me this sign. Because, see, it depends. If he's got a medical emergency and he's not an MD and he has to get instructions from, say, 911 real quickly, Does he want to call up 911 and they say, well, you're smart, go figure it out yourself? Is that desirable? No. You want real clear, real sharp, concise instructions to do this, 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 and this. If your boss comes to you and says, hey, in 2 hours you're going to give a presentation to the board of directors, go figure it out. You're on your own. What is your reaction? Panic. Yes. So what you want to do is find bosses, and if you're a boss and you're trying to become a leader, you want to lead according to the situation. Because sometimes direction is appropriate, sometimes delegation is appropriate, but not always. And it might be appropriate to delegate something to him one time, but the next task he hasn't done before, and I want to direct him. In fact, there's 3 things we want to do to improve this situation. Number 1, there's a spectrum of things from direction to delegation. So listen to these phrases and how they are different. Do it this way. Why don't you do it this way? Please consider my ideas on how you think about proceeding. Let's talk about it together. What are your ideas? Will your idea have the effect that you want? Do it your way. Do you see the difference? If I'm here, I'm letting him make the decision, but I'm giving him some support, some coaching. Whereas if I'm just delegating him, he's not getting any guidance. And on this side of the spectrum, here I'm basically saying, I don't care what you think, you go do it. If I'm partway in between, I'm essentially saying, do it this way, but think about it. You might possibly know more than I do. So I'm giving some permission, some encouragement to you to say, Steve, that was a stupid idea, and this is a better idea. Or however you want to phrase it. Because after all, she's working with me. So there's a whole spectrum of things between those 2 extreme styles. When you're a leader, you want to be able to think about that entire spectrum. You want to pick the right style for the situation. Think about some of the examples we just had. You want to pick the right style according to the task, the experience, the urgency, and the consequence of following up. If you're given a talk to the board of directors in 2 hours, and I haven't had a chance to brief these 2 people about who's on the board and what they're looking about, I better tend to be more over on the direction side, even if they're really, really good engineers, because I haven't prepared them. If they're talking to the board of directors in 2 weeks, then I'm going to be over here, because I got plenty of time to lay out the broad brush of the task, let them go out and work on the task, and then we can iterate. 2 weeks, you can do a lot of learning, a lot of coaching, a lot of supporting of your team. Same task, same people, same experience, but 2 weeks versus 2 hours is a big difference. Having been stuck in those sorts of situations, believe me, it is. The last thing you want to do in this situational leadership concept, when you have the chance to be a leader, is you want your people to grow. If you're going back to tribal leadership, if you're in tribes 1, 2, 3, you want to move your tribe to stage 4. And you can't do that if your people aren't growing, if they're not absorbing new skills. See, I don't want to keep having to tell a person exactly how to do things. I want that person to grow so that the second time it's easier. And the third time, it's easier. And the fourth time, I don't even have to be there. I can be on vacation, or I can be in a new job. So you want people to be supportive of your journey from this side to that side, skill after skill, task after task. You want to be working with professors. You want to be working with folks in the workplace that are helping you go from here to here. Please take my arm. You want leaders that'll do this. You want people who will help you grow and improve your skill sets. Again, the difference between boss and leader, a boss doesn't care about you. A leader does. A leader wants to make more leaders. The more people they can move on this side, the better they do, the better the team does, and the more they can go on vacation. Or in my case, retire. By the way, retirement's pretty good. You guys got a few years before you worry about that. But you work toward your objectives as a team by growing your people. So when you're out seeing who can get your services as an engineer, ask questions, listen, pay attention. Are people being encouraged to grow? Are they being given the chance to grow? A chance to learn? If so, that's a place you want to work. If everyone's just a minion over here, go someplace else. They don't deserve your skills, your energy, and your passion for what you were doing. Thank you very much. We got a minute or two. Any questions about leadership? No questions? I've either put you to sleep or everything's clear, and I don't know which one. Yes?
So like you mentioned that, okay, sometimes you're in that situation that you're a micromanager. How would you address or try to talk to your boss that give you more wiggle room?
Number one, I would go, as an engineer, I go into observation mode. Is that boss treating everyone the same way they're treating me? If they're treating someone else in a different way, why? Can I figure out why? Second thing, is there something about my past performance that suggests that the person has a reason to micromanage me? Maybe I've fouled up a whole bunch of times. Or she thinks I've fouled up a whole lot of times. Once I've diagnosed the situation, then I can start having the conversation. I can change my performance. I can change my style. Step one is to diagnose the situation. There are differences in culture, by the way. In Japan, most performance appraisals in Japan, based on, I've worked with people from all over these different parts of the world. Japan, the tendency is that the performance appraisal is done and you don't see yours. You only figure out by how you get treated. You have to diagnose without seeing performance appraisal. As an American, that would just drive me bonkers. And having had a Japanese boss in this project, believe me, I was bonkers. My wife will attest to that. I saw a hand go up over here.
What have you done to motivate your team?
You have to learn what your people care about. Some people want to be on stage. Most engineers don't. Some do. Some will want more responsibilities, their names on papers. So what motivates this person might not be the same thing as motivating over here. So you have to have a variety of motivational techniques in your toolbox and use the ones that work.
What have you used?
All of the above. Giving people more time in the limelight. I'm in Toastmasters. I am the District Lieutenant Governor of Education Training, which makes me a 4th level leader, club, area, division, district. So district, I serve all of Utah, most of Idaho, parts of Wyoming, Oregon, and Nevada. I use everything I can. It's a volunteer organization. Now, I can't pay people, but I can encourage them. Some people love encouragement. In fact, I would say most people do. I give them more responsibilities. We put all kinds of new incentives into place this year in the district. So there's all kinds of new awards that are out there that people can win. I have a variety of bling here on me. Some people like bling. So you just use all of them. Go ahead.
Now, how would you incorporate, because the professional world's a lot different than the student world. How would you motivate a student? Because usually it comes down to our project's due, and there's your day.
Right.
And it almost always falls on one person.
You try to get the person help. If there's any sense that they want help, you try to get them that help. Get them stage time presenting their results in front of other engineers and sometimes managers. Help them write papers if that's important in their line of work, in their stage. Write great recommendations. I love writing recommendations for my past students. I've had lots of students, summer positions at the lab.
I'm referring to a peer-to-peer team.
Peer-to-peer, that gets tougher. There, it's really giving of your time and your energy and your ideas, because there's nothing more valuable to a student, generally, than their time. So it's giving their time and energy. And I think I'm being told to do something that's very difficult for me, which is to shut up. And Oscar knows that that's tough for me. I have enjoyed being here with you this morning. Please take some of the paper that's there in the middle. It does zero good in the trunk of my car. So take it home with you, and I'll be happy to talk to people afterwards, except that you're going to tell them they have to go off to new sessions.
Yeah, but you'll be here for the entire conference, so.
I'll be here today, be here giving a talk tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, I believe it is.